All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's really changing the game for how great products grow. We're going to break down the new playbook for what's called community-led growth, a strategy that's pretty much turning old-school marketing on its head.
So let me just start with this one big question. What if your most passionate, dedicated customers could actually be your best marketers? Not just, through random word of mouth, but as a core part of how you grow. Just keep that idea in your head as we go through this.
Because we really are talking about a whole new playbook. This is about moving past the old way of doing things, just blasting out ads, and instead focusing on building real connections that create growth that actually lasts. So what even is community-led growth? You'll see it called CLG. While at its heart, it's a strategy that puts an active, thriving user community right at the center of, everything. It's about using the energy and passion of the people who already love your product to bring new people in, keep them around, and honestly, to make the product itself even better.
Okay, so why does this work so well? Why is this model winning right now? You see companies everywhere, in tech, in wellness, you name it, leaning into this. And it's because the way we trust people and make choices has fundamentally changed.
It really boils down to this one simple, powerful truth. We trust other people way more than we trust ads. I mean, think about it for yourself. Aren't you way more likely to try a new app or a restaurant if a friend recommends it, or if you see people buzzing about it in an online forum you trust? CLG just plugs directly into that basic human instinct.
And that trust, it creates this incredible ripple effect that gives you 4 huge benefits. First, you get that user-driven trust, which is just so much more authentic. Second, you get real-time peer support. Your own users start helping each other out, which is amazing. Third, you get loyalty that's truly earned, not just bought with discounts, because people feel like they're part of something. And finally, you get these direct feedback loops, a constant stream of ideas from the people who know your product best.
So, we get the why now. It's powerful. But let's get into the how. How do you actually do this? Well, building a community engine that can drive growth like this really rests on 3 main pillars.
Pillar number 1 is the user forum. And I don't just mean some dusty old Q&A page. No. Think of these as the living, breathing heartbeat of your community. These could be on Discord, Slack, Reddit, wherever your users hang out. They're places where knowledge gets shared, where power users are making tutorials for newbies, and where potential customers can lurk and see for themselves that people genuinely love this thing. It's social proof in its purest form. Okay, pillar number 2, customer advocacy. This is where you get proactive. It's about finding those super passionate users we talked about and giving them a megaphone. When your customers become your advocates, your product kind of starts selling itself, It's fueled by real passion, not just a marketing budget.
And this isn't something you just hope for. You can actually build it. You can create ambassador programs with special perks. You can actively go out and encourage testimonials and video reviews. You can run community contests that celebrate your best users. And you can build smart, easy-to-use referral systems right inside your product. It's all about taking that raw passion and turning it into something you can actually measure.
And that flows right into our 3rd pillar, the feedback loop. Now, the key here is that this is not about sending a survey once a quarter and hoping for the best. It's about creating a constant conversation where the ideas from your users flow directly to your product team. And when people see their ideas actually show up in the product, that's magic. It closes the loop and makes them feel like they're true co-creators of this thing they love.
All right, theory's great, but let's see how this actually plays out in the real world. We're going to walk through a quick case study of a new fitness platform that had to make a huge splash in a super crowded market.
So here was the setup. A major IPL cricket team was launching its own fitness app. Now they had this massive built-in advantage, a huge, passionate fan base. But the big question was, how do you get that passion for the team to translate into active, paying users for a brand new app?
And this chart really shows the genius of their move. The problem was clear: cut through a noisy market and get people on board fast. Instead of just throwing a ton of money at paid ads, they chose a community-led solution. They went into their fan base,
found those micro-influencers and natural advocates and basically empowered them to be the leaders of the launch.
And the first result was immediate, a sharp rise in active users right after the launch. We're not talking about a slow, steady build here. A typical ad campaign can take weeks to gain traction. This was an explosion of organic, community-driven buzz from day one. It was undeniable.
But getting people to sign up is only half the story, right? The real win was that the users they got were incredibly sticky. These weren't just curious people who downloaded the app and left a week later. They showed way higher retention rates. Why? Because they weren't just joining an app. They felt like they were joining a movement they were already a part of. That kind of buy-in is just priceless.
And finally, the product itself got better. Remember that feedback loop pillar? By listening closely to those super passionate early fans, the product team could make improvements and add features people actually wanted really fast. This made the app stickier, more valuable, and created this beautiful virtuous cycle. A better product created a more passionate community, which then gave feedback to create an even better product.
So as we start to pull this all together, it's pretty clear that this isn't just another marketing tactic. Deciding to build a community is a deep, strategic choice about how you fundamentally want to grow your business. Really, the choice is this simple. On one hand, you can have a passive audience. They get your messages, they consume your content, they sit on the sidelines. Or you can have an active growth engine, a community that co-creates value with you, that advocates for your brand to others, and that actually helps you drive innovation.
Which really just leaves one last question for you. When you look at your own product or your company or your project, ask yourself, is your community just a group of users, or could it be your next most powerful growth engine? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.